Welcome to the Hansen Brothers podcast. I'm Timmy and joined by my brother Kevin. We are teammates and world champions in rallycross. This podcast is our space to catch up while traveling the motorsport world. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Hansen Brothers podcast. It's just me and Kevin this week, but we have a lot to catch up on, don't we?
Yeah, a lot to catch up on, and nice and quiet, just two of us, just like it's like it should be, sometimes. It's a nice catch up.
How are you, Kevin? You've been in Dubai.
I've been in Dubai, had a bit of a holiday, got to see some of Mariela's family out there, got a bit of sunshine, bit of a recharge, got to run, in 30 degrees heat, which is always fascinating. I don't think even we...
Fascinating means slow.
You're saying, saying running. We haven't even spoken about when I had a half marathon not long ago that went really well.
Yes, you did so good.
I was really happy with. I targeted a 145, below 145 finish time, and I went out. I started on the pace. I was like, Christ, this is gonna be really, really tough. But I kept to it in the beginning. I pushed through, and I did something different too, because I did the same last year. I did a lot more carb loading before this race. So I had almost 500 grams of carbs the day before. Even the day before that, I did some, proper carbs eating, and I just felt much stronger. So I think if I didn't do that this year, I wouldn't have achieved my goal. So in the end of the day, I got to the 16K mark, which I know was really tough for me last year, and my legs felt better than they did then. And then kind of, I had a really high, I had obviously quite a bit below my pace during the whole run. And then towards the end, I just could feel that, my energy supplies were lacking out. I still had some gels during the run. But when I had to start to increase the speed towards the end, there wasn't much left. So I was pretty much on my maximum, I think, speed-wise throughout the whole run. And I completed in 142. So I was super happy with that pace and just the result of doing that. Almost 5 minutes better than the year before. I was really chuffed about. So that was something really fun and really cool. Perfect conditions, no wind, really nice and cool, 10 degrees.
Where did you place overall?
I don't know. I haven't seen the results. I need to check, but no idea. I will check and let you know another day.
All right.
But, it was good fun. And coming up for Wings for Life World Run as well, it's a nice bit of training for that.
I think I will target 24 kilometers this year, but you should be able to go a bit further than that. 25, 26.
Yeah, but that's the problem. Because you go longer.
Yeah,
I want to go longer. I want to finish quicker. I mean, I couldn't do a full marathon. Probably I could, but, I don't want to because it's so long. That's the problem with World Run. If you run quick, you get further. I'm like, no. I just want to do the same distance I've done before and then finish earlier. But that's also the beauty about that race. It's a completely different race, from anything else in the world.
When I finish World Run every year and I'm absolutely destroyed at the finish line, I can barely walk anymore. I try and get home, I have some kilometer to walk home to my house or something. I get some recovery, something to drink and so on. And then I turn on the broadcast of World Run and people are still running. And not only did they go further than me, they also ran faster the whole time. And they go on for hours longer than I did. So I'm like,
it's unbelievable.
Blows my mind.
Have you done any training for warming up for the World Run?
I am panic training right now, as every year. So that's now it's only running. And probably I will get a knee injury at some point. But no, I do mostly biking throughout the year, and during the winter I've had a very nice indoor bike, I know you do too, so that's where I do most of my cardio work. But now the weather is beautiful, so it's actually very nice to be out running.
That's the problem. I don't want to run in the winter. I like to run when I can put a t-shirt and shorts on, and I feel almost more free. It's more easy to go for a run, and that's what I like. I've done like you. I've been so much more on the bike, so I was really nervous about if everything would hold up for 21 kilometers, but in the end of the day it was okay. I would suggest this year you do trying carb load before.
I carb load every day.
I was really super energetic all that day before. I was eating so many carbs.
But you're always trying to lose weight, and I'm just in my happy place. And then carbs every day.
I don't lose weight when I eat carbs. I lose weight when I remove all the fats that I eat. So it's I don't think it did any worries. But now it was a nice bit of training. So I look forward to the World Run.
And now let's get into the rallycross part of the episode, we have some big news, don't we? It's a new calendar finally been announced, and we've got some very special places to go. I think it's a great calendar overall. Let's go through it with everybody. I got it here.
Super exciting calendar. I think overall it's a much more wide range calendar. We go from the north, Sweden and Finland, to Portugal, and we go to Asia again with Turkey, and like there's all these exciting new places and a new racetrack as well.
Yeah, so we will begin the season on a brand new track in Portugal, in Lousada. It's actually a classic track, but they put huge effort into rebuilding the place, and now we got an updated track on the 1st of June. So it's coming up pretty fast. And from there, we move to the race everybody knows about, Höljes, in first weekend of July. It's a
Magic
classic
weekend.
Yeah, I don't expect any changes there, but the magic's always in Sweden. We will move on to Hungary for race 3, also later in July. Then another new track in Finland, Kymiring. It's a whole new motorsport arena that they built, including a rallycross track. I haven't seen any drawings, but I'm very excited. And then we're gonna wrap up the season, the 2 last races in Turkey, and a last round, which is TBC date, TBC location and country. So yeah, we know behind the scenes it's a lot of negotiations still going on who will get to host that final race. But where would you like to end the season? Like, if you could dream of one place, where would you like us to go?
That's such a hard question. There is so many exciting projects in rallycross going out around the world. If I could dream anywhere to go, I would love to go back to Hong Kong. Obviously, it's like such a cool race location, racetrack, all those skyscrapers around. I wish that race in the night under the floodlights, it would be so cool. Obviously, also, like, I would love to have gone back to America. I don't think it's going to be any of those two, but that's like, if I could have chosen another one, I probably, obviously, I won't mention the ones that are in contention. Also, like, South America would have been so nice because they're so passionate, the fans down there, so enthusiastic and love racing, and such a great vibe. What do you think?
I would love it to be like at a mostly dirt track, maybe with like a dirt banking. I'm thinking like what Nitrocross used to do, like big jump, dirt, banked corners, a wide track, something like that just opens up for a lot of overtaking. Remember Spa in 2019, how they had that long, loose gravel corner? Like that kind of driving is, that is great. I hope they get to do something like that. I really don't mind too much where we go, honestly, because I'm much more focused on like the track itself, and then that could be built anywhere. Of course, if it has a surrounding like Hong Kong did with the skyline and the skyscrapers, doing that in the night, that would be crazy. But I have some experience of night races that went well, like and also that didn't go well. So for example, Las Vegas in Nitrocross, it was very well lit, and we had a good time there. You couldn't really tell it was night because it was so well lit. But then I have a bad experience also driving under the lights, which was when I did the French championship, the final round in Dreux last year. Then they had the last heat on the Saturday. They did at like 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock something. So it was really late. It was pitch black outside, and they didn't have enough lights. And wow, it was hard. Like the first lap, I had a pole and I had a decent start. And when I committed for the braking for turn 1, there was no spotlight onto turn 1. So like my eyes went to the apex, which I knew was like a red tire stack. But actually what my eyes had picked up was like something red on the outside of the corner. So when I realized that, like I was way too late on the brakes. I overshot it completely. I think Rytkönen had the better start. I touched him. Luckily, I didn't spin him around. I went way wide. Also, luckily, I didn't crash, but I came out in third. And then Dad told me Joker on the first lap to get that out of the way. But I just couldn't see where the Joker was. I could only see the rain light of the car in front of me because that's so bright. And there was no light on the Joker entry. So I was like, I'm not just going to turn off the straight into a wall here. So I carried on, following that only light, that like my guiding light in front, which was his brake lights. Oh, that was a disaster. And then I really understood why, like Formula One, when they drive in the night, it looks like daytime, but you have to have that, or
Yeah,
you have to have headlights on your car. But when you go into a section without headlights on your car and with no lighting, it was just pitch black.
yeah, yeah, and also like it's the dash on the dashboard in the car. I remember when we drove in Abu Dhabi in the dark, we had to turn that down because that was the main problem in the first qualifying heat on the night the day before the finals. It's like the problem wasn't that the track was not enough lit up; it was that the dash was too strong because obviously
Yeah.
you get darkness inside the car.
Yeah, we did. We could turn the dash down, but they had new shift lights in the car, which was a separate, LED display, like
Right,
with just lights, colored lights, and that we couldn't turn on the lights on. And I remember that issue that you're talking about, that the light was too bright and like it blinds you. So what we did was we put some tape that was not, it was not see through, but also it was not completely covered. I think we put 2 layers of that tape just on top of those lights, so I could still
brilliant,
see the colors, but they didn't blind me.
high tech.
So yeah, that was a big hack.
Yeah, that was good. Going back to the calendar also, like from going through them a little bit, I'm really excited about the first race because Lousada, our dad is a huge king in that town. He raced so much back there in the days. I remember it from being very young, being in the paddock, having a few memories from there. Obviously, we have done a test with Porsche there as well, but that new track is going to be same design in the basic, but like with bigger corners. I think there's a bank corner as well in the bottom. It's just going to be a bit wider, a bit quicker. I think that's going to be an incredible location because that's in the town, just 20 minutes outside Porto, which obviously is the second biggest town or city in Portugal. So a lot of fans will be able to access that. When the WRC have gone there the last few years, it's been absolutely packed on the grandstands. Obviously, bringing back the main sport of rallycross again to the rallycross track, the world championship, I think is going to be absolutely huge. And the new track design as well. I think we're going to have a great time on that race. Obviously, the WRC will go like 2 weeks before, so we'll be able to see a few things about the track already then, which will be very interesting. And I think just the atmosphere will be bubbling and just magical.
And the thing about Losada is that it's surrounded by kind of tall buildings with apartments in. And Dad said when they used to go there, so we haven't raced there. I was there for one test. You were too, right? In
Yeah,
2018
I
or
was there
something.
for a test, but I've also
Uh,
been there when he raced when I was young.
yeah, but so mom and dad used to tell me that the balconies of the apartments on the side used to be packed too because people were inviting their
Wow.
friends or like selling the spot, so that those actually might be the best place to view the race from because you're really high up, and then obviously you have like your chiller there with a drink, cook some food during the day. How nice would that be if you were one of those guys?
Unfortunately, we have to race then.
Unfortunately, yeah. Unfortunately, we have to go through that.
Yeah,
No, but I'm
but
I'm super excited to start the season, and it's not far away. It's next
two
month.
two
Yeah,
months.
it's
Yeah,
April now, so that will
yeah,
be 31st of May, the first day of racing.
super exciting.
Yeah, it's coming
And then
really close.
obviously then Höljes been the second race. It's been the first race for a couple of years, so in 2 years, and going to that race is always, you know what it takes to win Höljes almost now, because it's we've been there so many times, you know, the different strategies. It's not about anymore like finding out a few tricks or anything. It's just about putting the race weekend together that you need to be able to win Höljes. That's almost
Mm.
the more feeling you get there now, because you know all the small tricks on the track. Obviously you have to adapt a little bit during the race, but you kind of need to just put together an absolute perfect weekend if you want to win Höljes, because everybody knows the track so well.
Yeah, and I think the reason why we feel that way is because usually, or the last few years, Höljes haven't been our strongest track. Our car is not really built for traction, and you need a lot of traction to go faster on that track. And there are no really late braking points or stuff like that. So it doesn't completely suit our car or really our driving style or the way we have to drive the Peugeot. That's, I think, why we feel we can't put the foot wrong all weekend if we want to win there. But
Yeah, it's very
in
true.
the first few years, there was always like a new trick we found every year. But yeah,
Yeah,
now the track is so familiar that the slightest change to a curb in one corner, it's gonna be the big talking point. But it is still the magic weekend, and it is a ton of people there. It's a full-on party for like a week, and it's a fantastic atmosphere. And to call that our home race is very cool. I would
Yeah,
like to win there. If there's one track we would like to win at, it's the home track, isn't it?
for sure. And I mean, we have, I think about 30% or so of the listeners here are Swedish. So I mean, if you have the opportunity to get your caravan on or book a house close to Höljes to go see the race just for the 2 days, we can't recommend it enough. It's such a magical experience, and you can get so close to the action. It's such great commentary. There's great food around. It's such a great atmosphere. So looking forward to that one. And then obviously 2 weeks or 3 weeks later, I think it is, Hungary in July. I remember also being a kid, the only time I remember going with my dad in the race car was in Hungary, and that was a similar time. And it was 40 degrees up on the top where the paddock is. But then the racetrack is not on the top. It's down in like a big hole in the ground almost, so
Mm.
everyone on the grandstand can see everything. It gets so warm in the summer. It won't be any breeze. That's going to be a huge physical challenge, that race, with that temperatures kicking about.
But the reason why we go to Hungary is only because the track is epic. Like it's one of the all-time greatest rallycross tracks. I think it just has an incredible flow. The walls are really close. There is a really, like, you have to take a lot of risk, and then if you get it wrong, it's a big accident. But that's a bit why it's so great to drive that track, because like you feel the reward when you push that extra bit. And of course, you and Johan had the massive crash there last year, which was a big
Yeah,
talking point.
yeah. So he knows what not to do this time when we go there. Stay away from me. You can't squeeze me into the wall anytime. It will
Yeah,
end badly. So
I'm
put
looking
my foot
forward to
down
it.
there last year. So I look forward to go back. I was in the front row both days there. So I look forward to going back. I had a good feeling about that track, and good strategy on the driving. So I look forward to go back there, and with a bit of a lighter car. Also, hopefully not having to drag around all that weight everywhere.
Yeah, I really struggled there last time. It was before we figured out really how to work with the new tire, and I couldn't get any lap time out. Like it felt so inconsistent lap to lap, and I could get one corner right one time, but then I did the same next lap, and it didn't work at all. But after that, we figured out a lot, like how we can break into the corners, what we needed to do with the setup to suit the new Hoosier tire instead of the Cooper that we've been using for many years. And after that, last year, like our pace really picked up, I think. So I look forward to going back there with like a better setup of the car now, and really getting to push the, because as I said, the risk reward and the walls being close, and then my setup, like I fully not confident. So that was not a good weekend for me. Although I did have my first ever supercar win there many years ago.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you need that confidence between the walls. It's super narrow. There's no room for mistakes, and you have to get it right. So I look forward to that one too. Then after that, the new track in Finland is going to be super interesting. It's a bit, it's not far from Kuvela actually. It's like 20 minutes away from that track. So not a completely different part of the country. A bit closer to Helsinki as well. I've not seen anything about that track. That would be fascinating to go to a new location, learn a new track, find out the setup of that, be
Yeah,
sharp as a driver directly from the get go, and obviously going back to another, Nordic race location. I was going to say Scandinavian, but I've learned that Scandinavia is only Norway, Finland, Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. So a Nordic racetrack.
Nordic racetrack. Yeah, and then finally, like the last track we know is Turkey, and I think that the track layout is really nice there, and the track itself is perfect. But the big drawback about Istanbul is that the rallycross is not popular in Turkey.
The motorsport culture in Istanbul and in Turkey is massive, and they only started to sell tickets a day before the race. So there was
Mm.
actually like they opened only one grandstand that was packed on the one day because they sold it out as soon as they opened the tickets. So I think going back there would be very interesting in a better time of the year. But obviously that is a racetrack where we didn't have the best experience last year. I think we drove really well. We had a good performance, but we just couldn't match the petrol cars. And I think it won't be
No,
a completely different saga the next time we go
it will be
either.
the same again. Yeah, like even though we have less weight and so on, the track layout is really tailored to the combustion cars with no big straights. Even the longest straight has a little left kink in it, which is just about flat, but it turns enough so that our power cuts from the front.
Yeah,
Whereas you have a combustion car, if you're flat, you're flat. But we have to constantly manage with the software the power to each axle, so we can't carry full speed through that, or full power through that, I should say. So yeah, we got to build up a gap before going to
before we
Turkey
get
if we
there.
want to have a good chance at the World
Yeah,
Championship this year, which I think we could
yeah,
because of these changes. And if the story of the year plays out in the way that we can take the starts, and then I'm still expecting the combustion cars to be faster than us. But if we can get the starts a bit more often and then defend, and you and I play the team game, like for sure we're gonna play. You need to play every car that we got.
for sure. Playing the team game right, like you say, that's in the end it can be seen as dirty tricks, but it's just being clever together, using the rule book in the right way. Bit better performance from the new, balance of performance that we have between the technologies. And a new tire, hopefully that will suit us better with a bit more grip.
It is a very exciting season ahead, and for sure we will be closer. The question is, are we going to
Yeah,
be close enough to beat Johan to the championship this year, or is he going to grab his eighth or what? Eighth
I
year?
don't know.
I don't know.
I just
I stopped counting. I hate counting those.
know it's just time for us to actually get a shot at actually competing.
Yeah, hopefully we can be closer. And still, the best driver has to win. So I don't hope for anything unfair in terms of balance of performance. But I do think this will bring it more even. Rallycross cars are so powerful. The weight on braking and the twisty part of the track, the nature of rallycross. We do increase and decrease speed a lot. So weight is very penalizing in our sport. So the 160 kilos extra that we carried last year was a bit too much, and now it looks like it will go down to more something like 50 kilos difference between the
Mm,
two cars,
yeah.
which should put us way closer on the playing field. But still, the combustion cars will be faster on the lap because of how the transmission is built,
Mm,
because they have one engine driving four wheels, which means that those four wheels always spin the same speed, both on throttle and on braking. But our two axles can spin different speed, which means that we can lock the rears or lock the fronts on braking, or we can get front wheel spin or rear wheel spin. Um, so that, like, the transmission side of the car is actually what's holding us back more in terms of getting the ultimate performance. So that's why I'm expecting them to still be faster on pace. But we do, at the end of the day, we do have more horsepower. We've got to use
yeah.
that.
Exactly, use that. And I think we dived a bit deeper in this in some of the first episodes we did. So if you want to tap back into those topics, you can check those episodes out. And yeah, I just look forward to getting going. It's been a long break again, and can't wait to hit the track, hit the running, and show everyone what we got.
Do you want to talk about Formula One at all? Like Tsunoda,
Yeah,
Lawson thing?
yeah, Manto. A lot of changes very quickly, isn't it? Um, I feel for the guy being kicked out that early, not having a chance to get his head around things is obviously tough. But maybe like they say, the driving style that you have has to suit the race car of the Red Bull. It's such a unique car, and you just have to drive it the way that wants to be driven. If you don't, you're slow. And I think we saw that. So hopefully for Yuki, he can perform much better in that. And also, I think there was some rumored about, also obviously a lot of pay also from Honda to get him into that seat, to just give that little extra bit of,
Mm.
convincing, which obviously helps. But I look forward to see it. Race weekend this weekend, Japanese Grand Prix. I'm excited. Hopefully he gets a podium, Yuki, because he deserves one at home ground with a special livery.
Yeah, yeah. Like, he didn't switch teams; he still has the same livery.
Yeah,
But
still white Red Bull car.
I think it looks like you need a lot of confidence to drive that car, like Max has, and probably I think this will be good for Liam. I met him at the F1 drag race that we did with the rallycross car and so on last year. He was a really nice guy, Then he was super excited about everything and being there, and he was driving the F1 car. Although we only did straight lines, but uh, and he had a cappuccino in the morning, spilled it on his white hoodie, so he had the coffee stain
Legend.
Yeah, legend. But no, I think it will be good for him to like get back in the car that looks easier to drive and build up some confidence. I don't think any
Yeah.
other Red Bull driver has been able to recover their performance. But also one thing I don't understand is why can't they adapt the like Max obviously is one of the all-time greats and he's able to drive the car very different to anyone else, but they got to be able to change it. That's what I don't understand. Like you got to be
Mm.
able to build a car that more than one driver can pilot around the track. And it's something about the Red Bull that seems like impossible for anyone except Max to deal
Super
with.
pointy. It's just super pointy. It's always a strong front everywhere. And imagine that if you don't. It's like me. I hate a loose rear end oversteering car. Like I just lose lap time on it. And imagine if you just had to learn to just no, you have to have a car like that, and there's
Mm.
no question. I mean, it must be so difficult when that is not something that you wanted from the car in the past, and
And it
all of a
must be
sudden that's the
very
only way.
deeply like embedded in the DNA of the whole design to have that pointy car. Otherwise, you'd change springs or roll bar or whatever aero balance that they have in Formula One. You would change something to get the other driver more comfortable, but yeah, it doesn't seem to work. And the team is full of very intelligent people. But yeah, it seems too difficult to figure out. So I hope for
Yeah,
Red Bull that Yuki will do better and Max will have some wingman up there.
yeah, exactly. And I think also it's a bit like the Honda store with what Marquez. He wanted a bike could break super late, and then he just managed to flick around and go. But he developed it that way. He won 6, 7 world titles with it. And then when he had his injury and other people had to try and ride it, they just plummeted the in the standings and nobody could. So they had to like restart their development, and now they're on their way back again, getting to performance. But they, when he left for 2 years, when injury came back, struggled still, and then left to Ducati, they were in a really bad place for that time, and they just didn't have the speed anymore. So imagine if Max would then leave it someday to a different race team, and they're standing there with the car impossible to drive for anyone, and they're like, now we have to restart. And that's just, I guess, that's how technology development goes in sports. You have to always be on top of moving things and development for the drivers you have.
That's actually a crazy thought. Like, imagine if Red Bull didn't have Max. That would be
Yeah,
one of the slowest
P20.
teams. How crazy. Yeah, they have to keep him. But I guess he signed some long term contract like that last year or something, right? So
Yeah,
they
and
can be confident he will
there is
stay.
there is so many behind the scenes chat about he might leave because of this and that, and his clause is this and that. Nobody actually knows. It's just rumors and gossip and weird, and nobody knows what his contract says. It's only a few people in the world that get to see that contract. So if he wants to leave and there's an opportunity for him, he decides if he wants to do that. If he's not, then he's locked in. So I think they announced it. His agreement was until 2028. So he's still got a few years. Left to go.
Yeah. I'm going to watch the race this weekend for sure. It's always exciting to follow Formula One. Thank you for listening as always. Like it. Thank you so much for supporting this podcast. And we'll see you again next week on
Yeah.
Thursday.
Yeah. See you guys next week with our guest Luke Alfon.